Yo, what's going on? This is the NRW, where nerds rule the world. It's your boy, Kuyapi, aka Patrick Michael Strange, and I'm here to bring y'all some newness, y'all. As you know, I do the regular NRW show with Glenn and Loy and Rob and the rest of the squad, where we talk about films and TV and streaming, and we also talk about video games. But if you've been watching us the past couple months, me and the team been feeling like old men. You know, when we get to these gaming trailers, we check them out. We haven't really been gaming a lot and giving it the love that it deserves. So we were like, yo, we got to find a new crew, some cats that are playing games, maybe some young upstarts. But then I kind of just like look over to the corner because I have this brother who lives not too far, same age as me, but he's gaming. He knows what's going on. My man WebsterStyle. And we're like, yo, can you do something with our gaming? And he reached out to my man Brian Sapph, and we're gonna like rock this newness right now. So let me bring those cats on. You saw WebsterStyle on for a second. I don't think we muted ourselves too much, but there they go. They're on the screen. My man WebsterStyle and my man Brian Sapph. You can unmute yourself, Brian. Please welcome these amazing young brothers. And of course, Eldon, WebsterStyle, you young at heart. You know what I'm saying? You, like I said, you're still gaming, even though you and I are the same age. I got number love for you, man. I'm so excited for what we're going to do with this. And for you, Brian, coming down with the NRW team. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to y'all. I'm going to leave in my space station. Let y'all do your thing. Rocking the new NRW gaming here. So it is a pleasure, brother. I'm going to let y'all do your thing.
All right. Thank you for the introduction, sir.
No doubt.
Appreciate it. Now, Brian, I don't know about you. This morning, I woke up and I looked at my computer, and probably the biggest gaming news in the past 10 years happened this morning with Microsoft buying Activision for almost $70 billion with a B dollars.
Which I wasn't even really. I was like, damn, Microsoft got billions like that. But I mean, I guess one of the largest tech conglomerates in the world. I don't know. I was surprised, really, because I mean, you know what's going on with Activision and all that, with the whole what they call it, frat boy thing or whatever,
sexual harassment and all that, workplace. Yeah, it was shocking. It was more so shocking because it was Activision. You know, I'm a big Xbox gamer, and I hear about all of the rumored acquisitions, especially with all the acquisitions they made in the past couple of years. And Activision was never on the radar of any of the pundits, any of the gaming press. No one ever thought that Activision would be the target of acquisition by Microsoft. And Microsoft, you talk about biggest tech companies. I mean, that $70 billion, that's like cash they had to get rid of. I mean, they make so much money, like they had to spend it. So why not spend it on Activision? It's ridiculous, but more so, and we kind of saw this playbook when they purchased, the guys that make Fallout. Why is it escaping me at the moment?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, though. I know you're saying.
But purchasing them last year, and we saw that in how it's playing out with, those titles that they have a contract with are going with those contracts, like Ghostwire Tokyo with the PlayStation, also Deathloop, Bethesda. Thank you. OH catching up with me. But they now have Activision, which has, I mean, I'm not a Call of Duty fan, but Call of Duty is arguably one of the biggest games every single year. True. And the potential for that title going Xbox exclusive, I'm sure, at least console wise, I'm sure there's a lot of people. I can only imagine YouTube tomorrow. Today is more shock. Tomorrow, like, there's gonna be a lot of angry people out there talking.
And I thought about that as well, because like we discussed before, like I mostly game on PlayStation and Switch.
Right.
No disrespect to the Xbox players and stuff. I don't really participate in the whole console wars thing. But I was like, okay, so what does this mean for exclusive content when it comes to, the two, I guess, largest platforms in the world? Because PlayStation kind of made it a point to be like, Xbox is cool or whatever, but we have exclusive stuff. And then Xbox was kind of like, but we're for everybody, so let's whatever. So I'm like, does this mean Activision will be like giving their content more towards the Xbox side, or like what is that? I don't know. I'm confused, honestly. Like I know they made the purchase, and I'm like, Activision is going through what it's going through as far as, you know, their things, but this could be good or bad, honestly. I know a lot of companies, they tend to cross different, you know, as far as platforms are concerned. Like there are a bunch of companies who produce games for both or whatever, but with Activision being such a force, I wonder if Microsoft is going to pull oh no, Xbox got exclusive Activision content only. I don't know.
Yeah, Activision, I mean, Activision has been around since the Atari, so they're you know really one of the oldest game companies really out there, especially from back in the day. And this, I was listening just to some podcasts and people talking today, and just the number of IPs that they own. I mean, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, you know, in addition to Call of Duty and the game studios they have under them. Which this is what I hope. I think Call of Duty probably should stay multi-platform.
Definitely.
Simply because of how large it is. That's just what I'm thinking. And also, Xbox doesn't really need more exclusive FPS. At least that's just my opinion.
I can agree.
There are so many IPs that are there that could potentially be mined for exclusives. And I don't think Overwatch 2 is going to the PlayStation. I can see that being one that they keep in the Microsoft's banner. But when I'm really looking at, I'm really thinking so. Because Overwatch is very much, you think of Overwatch, you think PC, you don't think console.
That's Call of Duty. Like, that's always been the struggle with the Overwatch community. Because I'm a big Overwatch player. Like, I don't know what made me get into this game the way I've gotten into it, but I really, really love that game. And that's always been like a thing within the community of Overwatch players. It's like they focus a lot on the PC players, but console wise, especially with like PlayStation or whatever, like we game heavy over here on that. And I don't know. I see what you're saying though, because that would be a move that would really shake things up.
And also with Call of Duty, specifically, we know Sony has had that exclusivity as far as the maps and everything for like a year or 6 months, whatever it was. And who knows how long that contract is for. So, you know, it may not be something that they can do, but of course, looking at Bethesda, it took a year for that deal to finally close. So we're really looking at, we won't know the ramifications of this deal until it actually closes at least a year from now, because I'm pretty sure this is going to take a lot longer to rectify and finalize compared to Bethesda, because Bethesda, we thought Bethesda was big. No, it's a little goldfish compared to what Activision is. And I was even watching somebody today, like Activision even owns like all the old Sierra PC titles. Like they have so much that they're sitting on that when it does actually happen, there are so many games that could literally flood Game Pass for both Xbox and PC. It's utterly ridiculous. And for me, I'm not even worried about exclusivity. Because I think we talked before, like I play a lot of things, but I'm very specific as to what games I play. And me personally, I'm in Xbox camp, and I have been since 2002, simply because a lot of the games and franchises I've played over the years on Xbox, whether they're exclusive or multi-platform titles, and even now I keep up with gaming and I play a lot of games, particularly because of Game Pass, because I have that access. But even before, it's like I could literally tell you, like, I play this game, play that game, play this game. But ones that I did, except for maybe Halo, that I really go hard for, everything else was multi-platform.
Yeah. Is it? Halo's multi?
No, everything else I played besides Halo was for the most part. There are some oddballs, especially from the 360 era.
Right.
But even like Xbox One era, I can't say that they were any games that I'm like, hey, I need to get an Xbox One for outside of Halo. And even I got the Xbox One because my wife said, hey, you deserve this. I'm going to use our money to get it for you. Even I was like, no, I'm fine with my three. This is like years and years ago. It's like, we don't need to be paying no money for a game system right now. I'm fine with my 360. So even that was thrust upon me. Not that I wasn't grateful, but I'm just saying overall, as far as my own game is like, I'll wait and see. So even with this, I'm like, overall, though, I think it's good. But this is, I think, what people are not realizing when they talk about it. They acquired King. So we're talking about Candy Crush. We're talking about how humongous of a mobile gaming giant that is. I think that dwarfs even, the number of players that buy Call of Duty every single year.
Yeah.
Like that's the real play. Imagine Microsoft having that in-house capability to really bring their IPs now over to the mobile space and to monetize them in ways they haven't done before, because they've only really done mobile. You had those 2 Halo games, and I think there was that Fable game, and that's it. Those are and I may be wrong, but I believe those are the only mobile games they really came out with, and that was like 2014, 2013. That was Windows Phone days, right? That tells you how long ago that was.
Right.
So I think that's the real jewel there.
Yeah. Even you saying that, because I completely forgot about Call of Duty Mobile, and what them acquiring Activision means for that game, because that has a large player base as well. And mobile gaming is this, that's the wave. I don't know. Activision might be, or Windows might really be trying to make a play more towards the mobile game. I mean, consoles are never going anywhere, not anytime soon anyway, especially with how integrated they have become with the virtual reality space. Like, I feel like consoles going to be around for a while, but this purchase, I don't know, it might mean something big for like the mobile gaming space. Now that you like bring that up, that's an interesting observation, just because, like I said, we got Call of Duty Mobile there. People play that. And then you mentioned like Candy Crush and all these other games. And that's just scratching the surface of like the amount of mobile games that just went up underneath the Microsoft umbrella with this purchase. So,
right. And even I'm just thinking of, I mean, she doesn't do this much now, but my wife, and one of the games she's played a lot of over the years is, I guess, Farm Hero Saga.
Yeah.
And she always affectionately calls it egg babies, but she's actually paid real money in that game over the course of the years. And again, it's not a huge amount of money, but I know she's just like, they're going to make me pay another 99 cents, or they're going to make me pay another $5. Like, and I remember hearing that, over and over again during, periods of time when she's actually gone heavy in the game. And I'm thinking, you probably paid more in gaming in that year span in that game than I have not paying for Game Pass. And I told you about not paying for Game Pass, but just in general, it's one of those things where like, that's a very lucrative market that Microsoft has the potential of actually acquiring and bringing into the fold. And then even on the technical side, bringing that sort of technology and combining that with his, not get too techy, if it's cloud technology, which with Azure and the sort of potential that they have there, they could be something else. And let me bring it back down to just the consoles though. And this is where, and I just thought about this, I think could be the biggest problem for Sony, not so much the exclusive, but with their sort of Game Pass competitor they're developing with, there's rumored to be developing with merging Plus and what's the other service? I forget.
PlayStation Now?
Yeah, thank you. Like merging that could seriously limit the availability of those third-party titles for their service.
That's true.
And that's true. That's something that could happen.
Solid, yeah, definitely. Because if those contracts haven't been like in place prior to this, they definitely could threaten that.
Yeah, it could. But we know just from our conversation, there are third-party titles that are on Game Pass, but they're also on PlayStation Now that you wouldn't know about because PlayStation doesn't advertise any of this stuff. And also the SEO sucks. You can't even search for it online. Like it doesn't even pop up in search.
And I hate that they're not like as integrated as they should be as far as search compatibility is concerned, because like I mentioned to you before, like they do a good job of making sure that their older titles, which damn, I guess now Windows will own some of those things, you know, with Activision acquirement, but they do a good job with like making sure PlayStation now gets that, specifically because we, you know, bitched and complain about the new consoles not having backwards compatibility. So with them merging that and then losing, I don't know if it's losing because I don't know what the contracts look like, but with this impending acquisition, it could like really put a damper on that. And that's crazy because I don't like that part of it.
But I will say this: Microsoft ain't no fool.
No.
And I really think that they're really looking for that first party, those first party titles, but also, and this is the thing, Microsoft through Game Pass. And I hate to keep coming back to Game Pass, but that's their trump card right now.
Yeah,
they're literally like this purchase is all about getting more eyes on their product and getting more subscribers. And you know, it's already been in the works, so it's not even like I'm predicting the future. You will see integrated televisions with the Game Pass app. You will see other devices with the Game Pass app. There were rumors years ago, before the current Xbox Series systems, of a Xbox dongle that was just cloud gaming. These things will come to pass in the next 5 years. And this is when acquisitions like Activision will really come into play, because now with removing that barrier, and this is something that the Stadia tried to do, but Stadia has failed miserably, because you don't have that hardware component. You don't have that traditional buying and purchasing component. This is my biggest issue with Stadia. If I buy a game on Stadia, it's there. Stadia goes away, it's gone. At least with an Xbox, either Xbox One, Xbox Series systems, if I wanted to download and purchase a game, any of these games that are available on the cloud, I can do that, and it's on my system. And in many cases, I could actually go out and buy the physical copy and play it on that same system, which is where I think that this cloud gambit for Microsoft is really paying off, and why a $70 billion acquisition, even though it's Activision, makes perfect sense for a long-term strategy. It is going to be interesting looking back 5 years from now, where we are in gaming, and not just Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, but as a whole, as far as what sort of services are really offered there.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, honestly, even though I'm not like an Xboxer or whatever, like I'm actually excited for it, to be honest, just because I think it'll put pressure on everybody else.
Right. Competition is good.
Yeah, like I like when especially Microsoft always been like this. They're not afraid to compete. Sony, on the other hand, like they'll do a lot of deals, you know, outside of the main scope of media, whatever, to try to keep up. But Microsoft, they like these power plays, and I like stuff like that. I know recently, what was it? PlayStation or Sony, they ended up buying a large portion of, I think it was T-Mobile, whatever branch of T-Mobile that owned, or AT&T that owned like Funimation and all of those streaming apps. Like
they both
ready to merge.
Yeah.
Right. So I think this is a good response, especially given that you're getting actual Activision now.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because Activision also comes with esports, which Sony owns Evo. You have, you know, different conventions now, and I believe there's some aspects of some of the purchases Sony has that has convention aspects as well. You have a lot of one-to-one that Microsoft is now getting in comparison to Sony, which I think will be very interesting going forward. Particularly, I'm not an esports sort of person, but I think with that future and that evolution of what esports has become, just again, that 5 year sort of time frame, just where it was, you know, 5 years ago to now, and how large it is, I think that it's going to be very interesting. And one of the things I like about Microsoft, especially in, I'm a very much a techie sort of person, so I've really followed Microsoft from a tech perspective since Satya Nadella took over as CEO.
Mm-hmm.
He is very understanding of where the company should go in the future, and he's made so many great decisions as far as transitioning from Windows to the cloud and subscription services, you know, where other tech companies have fallen behind. And really seeing the future in something like this is something he's done really well, and Microsoft has done really well in the past 5 years or so on his leadership. Also, Sony, the saving grace of Sony is PlayStation. PlayStation, and now Spider-Man No Way Home. That was like, if it wasn't for those two, they'd be sunk in many regards.
Right. Because I mean, like I said, they just did the Funimation and Crunchyroll purchase. They're trying to merge those together. That'll be great for, you know, anime lovers like myself and the whole culture around that. But yeah, it's PlayStation. That's their claim to fame as far as the video game space. Their VR thing is pretty cool as well, but it hasn't like really picked up. Maybe now that Microsoft has done this and the metaverse is taking off the way it is, maybe they'll put some stock into that. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to watch this stuff play out. They haven't really transitioned into mobile gaming as well as Microsoft has, because I know Game Pass has become something that you can access without Xbox. And I like that feature about it.
Let me tell you, that's during the holidays when I was away, all I did was take my controller, take my clip with my phone. That's all I needed. That's it.
Yeah, see?
And they're playing Forza 5 at the dinner table.
And see, that's something that Sony and PlayStation have not, they don't even think about. Like the mobile app for PlayStation is not even up to par. So it's just, I don't know. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to shake things up. I know Sony, like I said, has done well with their contracts and agreements and stuff, like with the release of Spider-Man Into the Marvel's Avengers game. Like he's still exclusive to PlayStation only. I know Marvel has, the Marvel's Avengers game has come to Game Pass as well, but that character is not there for exclusivity reasons. And I'm pretty sure they'll continue to do stuff like that in order to keep up, but they got pressure now, and I'm excited.
Now, Brian, all due respect, I don't think the Avengers game is a good example.
Well, no, the reason.
But then I understand what you're saying now.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because they have taken precautions to make sure that there is a reason to look into getting a PlayStation. That's the only reason I'm saying it. Like it's not a good example, but that's the one I could think of right now.
Right.
But to your earlier point, you do have, older titles like Spyro and stuff like there's a bunch in the Activision bubble that has normally been associated with PlayStation, and we don't know how those contracts look in terms of exclusivity and stuff like that. But I'm welcome to the pressure because I think it's about time. Like Sony has really been relying on the fact that the PlayStation is like a coveted game system. They've been really relying on that brand as a whole and not necessarily putting in the effort, in my opinion anyway, to branch out and, like I said, get into mobile gaming and make sure that you can access your PlayStation games from a computer or something like that. They haven't really taken the time to like really launch and be as universal as Microsoft has made their gaming console. And I think that's going to bite them in the ass, but I'm ready to see what they're going to do in response to that, or at least try to keep up.
Yeah, this is the thing. And I'm going to say this the last point, and we could talk about some new games. I know we could talk about this all episode. But one of the things about Sony, which is really, talking about biting them in the ass, they bought a whole lot of assets to enable them to do something like this. They bought all the assets of the online service a couple years ago. They bought was it Nexon or whoever it was, or I forget the mobile gaming company. Like they bought all of those assets years ago and have done diddly squat with them. Like they really could have been in a better position. And not saying they won't be, or this is my opinion. Whatever they come out with Game Pass, a Game Pass competitor isn't going to be as robust because those day one launch titles aren't going to be there. That's hands down. Sony already said that, so that's
right.
without saying. They really need to compete with that everywhere cloud aspect that Microsoft has with Game Pass, and they have a deal with Microsoft to use Azure for cloud gaming, so that may play a part into it'd be funny if Microsoft's making money off the Sony's gaming cloud, because that's just so funny. But it's like they have the tools, they've just never done anything with them, at least to the extent that they could have with what they purchased with those services. Like all those services were ahead of its time because nobody had high-speed internet to the degree that we have it now. Now that we have 5G connections on our phones, even 4G connections, or gigabit up and down Wi-Fi and internet at our houses now, at least some of us now, but it's a lot more prevalent than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when a lot of these services really try to jumpstart it. I will say the next 12 months, especially because it'll probably take a year for the Activision deal to close. But with Sony coming out with their competitor, Microsoft continuing to really increase Game Pass, and then Ubisoft services coming to Xbox. Now, whether or not that's going to be a part of Game Pass, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a separate service, but it could be just like they did with EA Play. There are a lot of things moving in the next 12 months. I think this is, in my opinion, probably going to be one of the most exciting years for gaming in a very long time for the consumer. And that is one thing, like you talk about competition. I love the competition, because if it wasn't for that competition of Sony in the last generation of kicking Xbox Ones behind, we wouldn't be where we are now. Right. And then vice versa, if 360 wasn't so popular and kicked the PlayStation 3's butt, we wouldn't have got the last console generation. We just keep getting this competition, and at the end of the day, outside of those insane $70 games, which is a conversation for another podcast show, the consumers are benefiting. And that's one of the things I love. And with that, let's talk about some new games. And I'm going to touch on this one first. The first new game this week came out yesterday is Shadowman Remastered for the Switch. And this actually is a remaster of the old acclaimed Shadowman game, which, for those you don't know, is based on the Valiant comic. And it actually came out for the other systems, PlayStation and Xbox, last week. But this is the version that came out for the Switch. And this is one of those games, I played it briefly a long time ago on the Dreamcast, and I would say I have fond memories of it. But I don't have a lot of memories of the game, because I didn't really play it like that. I remember the comic book more so than the game itself, but a lot of people who I know from back in the day who played it really loved it. So I would say it could possibly be something to pick up, but I would say watch some videos first, especially you think of the older. I would say sometimes it's difficult for games like this it came out with, especially on like the Dreamcast and N64. They only had the one analog stick. Sometimes they don't transition well to current platforms. So that's something to think about as you go forward.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I seen that and I was like, it feel like a cash grab. I mean, just because
that's what it is.
That franchise has been like, when it was out, it wasn't necessarily like at the height of anything. Like people, it was more for the fans. So I mean, I'm cool with it coming to the Switch. I think what developers are starting to realize is that Switch has a very, very unique place in the gaming culture, because they're still actively making like platformers and 2D side scrollers and stuff. So this game will work for Switch.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'll be
no, that's the one thing about the Switch I think is so awesome. It really provides developers and companies a place to slightly upgrade, if at all, their older games, tweak them, and give them to an audience that has literally probably never seen them before. Because you're thinking about that quote unquote Nintendo player. They've probably never played any of his games on Xbox or the PlayStation, especially those that have grown up with the Nintendo in their hand. I mean, I'm one, but it's a bit different from the Nintendo I grew up with.
We was there from the inception of those consoles. So it's different for us.
So yeah, exactly. So it's it's one of those things where you're exposing it to a lot of people, even just thinking like they brought back out KOTOR for Switch, and even though it's been around for a while on other platforms, particularly PC and mobile, you bring something like that to Switch, it's like, hey, this is a game that I've never seen before. I love Star Wars, especially if you don't have an Xbox where it's backwards compatible. And, good God, that remake is going to be amazing. And I'm glad it's not like infinitely tied to the PS5.
Right.
I probably got to wait a year, but I'll wait.
I'll
wait for that one.
We bring up Switch, and I know we passed this conversation, but that just sparked something in my brain as far as the whole Activision, acquisition with Xbox. PSP really did some things when it came out.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. This might be their way to this. If Sony was to say, you know what, Activision's over there and they got all this cloud gaming, this might be a good time to relaunch the PSP, make it 10 times better than it was. Especially, you see how Switch is doing. Like, people love that. They might be able to come back. That's all I wanted to say. Because
I agree with what you're saying about they love how Switch is doing, but it's exactly why they won't do it, because they will get trounced even more if they try to bring out a handheld. The one thing about the Switch is the only system you need from Nintendo. They don't have two handhelds. That is the only one.
That is true.
So, and I think that's the biggest part of why the Switch has been so successful. You only need one system now.
That docking feature, boy, it's the game changer.
Right. Exactly. So I have fond memories of the Vita and the PSP, and I think that they were very much ahead of their time.
Very ahead.
But Nintendo was Nintendo, and it was very hard to compete. And they were respectable. And I'm not saying they did horribly, but they didn't do well enough for Sony to feel like it was something to continue on. And that was in a market where you didn't have the Switch now looking like it. I think it's surpassed DS sales lifetime now.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it's surpassed Nintendo DS lifetime sales, which is like the Vita and the PSP were directly up against that the whole time.
Right.
You're talking about this system, it surpassed the one that beat us. Nah, I'm good, son. I'm good. It's no point.
I understand what you're saying. It was just interesting because I'm like, damn, if PSP were to come back out and it had like cloud gaming capabilities and stuff, like they tried to do it the Vita. I don't know, it might be because then there's also still the aspect of having like the physical game thing. I don't know, it's weird. But back to the new releases, because that'll be something. We'll continue to talk
the next
about
one so the next one we have up is Nobody Saves the World, and this is a quirky little action RPG that is and I'm not sure if it's totally exclusive or a time exclusive, but it's out on Xbox and PC. And speaking of that, Game Pass, it launches day one into Game Pass. That's going to be a theme on this list as we go forward. And I checked it out. It looks interesting. I can't say it's anything I would necessarily get into from the looks of it. One thing being on Game Pass, a lot of games that I've played that I never would have played that I'm like, oh my God, I love this. So this may be one of those, but it looks like a quirky action RPG. And I checked out a couple of reviews during the course of the day, and people hold it in pretty good regard. I'm looking right here at Game Informer, and they gave it an 8.25. So that's a pretty good score. Yeah,
when I seen it on the list, I definitely checked it out because I'm like, this. I like I said, RPGs. We talked about this before. I'm really into RPGs. I like the stories that come along with them and how the developers choose to include the player as far as gameplay is concerned. And this was kind of giving me Scott Pilgrim Saves the World a little bit.
Right, yeah.
I was like, okay, this might be fun or whatever. So I don't know if I'm going to check it out, but from what I've seen based on the reviews and stuff, like you said, it's something to keep your eye on, at least.
Right, exactly. And it's funny you bring up Scott Pilgrim because now we have a classic 2D beat 'em up in the form of River City Girls, which is a spinoff of the classic NES game River City Ransom. And this is actually, you may be like, wait a minute, what? This has come out before. Yes, it came out before last year on all the other systems, but this is now the PS5 with better loading times and slightly enhanced graphics. It's a 2D beat 'em up. I don't know how much more enhanced the graphics can get, but that's what it says. So this is now released for the PS5, and if you have the PS4 version and you go to PS5, it is a free upgrade. They aren't charging you $10 like other games. So that is good as well. So if you haven't played this game, and really if you haven't played this game, something's wrong. It's on every platform, every system. It was on Game Pass for a while. That's how I played it. It's if you like 2D beat 'em ups, much like Scott Pilgrim, this is a game you should play.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll look into it because
you haven't played it yet. You will definitely love this game, Brian.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out then because I like I said, I like games like this. I know PlayStation now, PlayStation Plus right now, one of the free games this month is like Persona 5 or whatever. I definitely downloaded that. This giving me that kind of energy as well with the whole 2D like action style or whatever. I like stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really, really fun.
Okay.
Next up, we have Expeditions Rome for PC, and I had to look that up because I had no idea what that was. And apparently, is a tactical RPG, and there have been a couple other games in the Expedition series, including Expedition Vikings.
Right.
Tactical RPGs have never been something I've been interested in. So I'm like, it looks pretty. That's about all I can really say. And
yeah,
I've never been into these sort of games at all. So I mean, I can't say, yay, go get it. Yeah, it looks good. It looks pretty. If you're into those sort of games, I'm pretty sure it's something you'll like.
Yeah, and that's just what I was getting ready to say. If you're into these, because Expedition Rome, like the whole Expedition franchise has kind of been like akin to the Civilization franchise a little bit. Okay. Like, and I play those kind of games as well, like tactical RPGs, those kind of world builder-esque kind of games where you have to make the decisions for everything, to push everything for, like those tend to be like very, very addicting games, at least for me anyway. It's on PC though, so I don't know. It's only for PC. Like some of these other games like this have branched off into Xbox and PlayStation and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're a PC player and you're into those kind of games, I will definitely check it out. Like, I'm not opposed to it at all. It's just I don't have my gaming PC in the right state of play right now.
Right. So next up, and this was probably the weirdest one that I saw, is a game called Pupperazzi, where you're literally taking pictures of dogs and
it's Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, basically. Thank you. It's like Pokemon Snap. You upload them to your social media, and I'm like, yeah, this definitely is not for me. But it's on Game Pass day one, so
I don't. You know, the dog craze is getting weird. But shout out to everybody that has dogs and likes dogs. Yeah. I'm probably not gonna breeze right past Pupperazzi.
I feel you. I have dogs. I'm not up for. If I want to see some dogs, I'll go see my dogs downstairs. I'm not taking pictures. Yeah. So, but you know, for some people, especially I can see younger kids and whatnot. And this is only right now on Xbox and PC. So again, it's console exclusive to Xbox right now. I'm pretty sure it'll be on the PlayStation eventually, but it's one of those things where it's definitely for a younger crowd or a different type of gamer than you and I. So that, with that being said, let's get into probably the biggest drop of the week.
Yeah, I didn't even realize this was coming out until you sent me this.
Exactly. And that's Rainbow Six Extraction, and this is actually, I don't think I've ever seen this ever. PlayStation 5, and you know what I'm talking about when I get to it. Right. Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC. So it's everywhere, but it's an online tactical co-op shooter in the Rainbow Six universe, and you're like in a lab, and it reminds me of Area 51. That's what it reminds me of.
I can see that.
Only as a first-person shooter, and that also is dropping day one into Game Pass. And that was like a big thing Ubisoft made about that. In addition to bringing their service onto it, I will say I am. And again, we've talked. I'm not the humongous first-person shooter fan. Like I play Halo. I play Halo because I like the story. but also I had this thing about, and it's not like, oh, I don't think you should kill people. I don't enjoy first person shooters where I'm shooting people. Not saying you shouldn't do it. It's just I find no joy, and that's one of the reasons like I never got into Call of Duty. Like I think I had Call of Duty 4, whichever the one where that really blew up, Modern Warfare. I played all of like 5 minutes of it. Okay, nope, and not something I enjoy. But this seems like something that I could possibly get into because you have that whole alien vibe. It's a different look for the Rainbow Six series as well. I wouldn't say it's not as hyper realistic, but it's very, I don't know, the sheen, it has like an 80s kind of sci-fi sheen to it from some of the video. So it looks like a different sort of game that I think could possibly appeal most players. And also, if you are buying it, I think it's only like a $40 game too, because it is I think it's only I think it's all online, or it's supposed to be online, so it's not like a full price game. So it is $40, but you know what that means is Ubisoft. So watch out for microtransactions.
I was about to say this because if you're saying this is online only, like it's only a multiplayer type of functionality, that's what you're saying.
I know it's themed that way. They probably have an offline mode, kind of like Back 4 Blood, where you can play with bots. So I'm assuming it has that sort of functionality as well. I don't think it's like Battlefield 2044, whatever it was, where you have to be online to do anything and no sort of single player. But I got to do more research into that one. But yeah, I would assume that you can play offline with bots. That will only make sense to me.
So based on what you're explaining, this kind of sounds like Rainbow Six's attempt to compete with Warzone, which you're not a Call of Duty player, whatever, but Warzone is basically Call of Duty's like extra expansion thing that you can play for free, and it has a battle royale component and stuff like that. That's kind of what it sounds like. But then the style of Rainbow Six, the alien thing actually makes sense. Like, I'm interested. The Stadia thing is throwing me off because I'm like, what in the hell? Who would play? I don't like when these large games try to like branch over into stuff. Like you mentioned Overwatch earlier, they released a Switch version and stuff, and it's terrible. Like the mechanics don't work, anything. I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to check it out. You said it's only $40. I like Rainbow Six. It's funny that you mentioned like you don't like shooting people. That just remind me of an episode of Atlanta where they had that very same discussion, like at a shooting range, like why are there people targets and not like dogs, animals, or whatever. But this I can't say I'm excited for it because Rainbow Six is one of those ones where it's like if it's good, it's good. If it's not, okay. But I don't know. I'm gonna give it a try. I think this might be one I'll give a try.
I feel like they have an iteration because I think I played it just to get some points on Game Pass of Rainbow Six. That it is very much like that battle royale sort of setup. So I think this one gameplay is more like that co-op shooter Back 4 Blood sort of aspect.
Okay. Which
I may be wrong.
Like that.
Yeah, Back 4 Blood. That's what I can deal. I can rock with that, especially in a sci-fi setting. That's right up my alley.
Because No, go ahead.
I'm saying, so with that, that's it is the biggest release of this week. And it's kind of light. Next month, the floodgates are going to open with games. So right now it's kind of like, this is one that like when I saw the trailer, I'm like, this looks familiar. And then I realized it's actually a sequel to an old Neo Geo game that was in the arcades back in the day. And this is Windjammers 2, and this is for Stadia as well and all other platforms that But this is why I sparked my interest. It's developed and published by Dotemu, and those are the same cats that did the Streets of Rage 4 last year. So I'm like, okay, yeah, exactly. Like Streets of Rage 4 is awesome. They have a good pedigree, and it's basically it's like Frisbee Pong. Think like Pong or whatnot, but it's like ultimate Frisbee, and that's exactly what it is. And you have different ways or different score points to score depending on where the Frisbee hits and goes into the net. So I watched a couple of reviews on it, and apparently like the original one it was released a couple years ago on the Switch.
Okay.
And apparently, and I was really, I'm like, wait a minute, why would they make a sequel to this literally obscure Neo Geo game? Because I saw it and I'm like, I remember seeing that maybe once in the arcade back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is weird. Apparently the original one has become really big on like competitive game circuits.
Really?
So that made the original one blow up on the Switch. And then based on that, they made it a sequel. I'm like, that's really interesting. Who would have thunk it?
Right. And with that, because I could see this game doing okay, honestly, especially with like nowadays, they have like they've reintroduced, I don't know, these current generations of consoles have reintroduced like party games in a way that have been like really exciting. Like I play Fall Guys at times, and this what you're saying, this type of game is kind of reminds me of Knockout City, which is a dodgeball game. Like, I don't know, this could work. I'm looking at it. He was saying we could play a trailer. I kind of want to see like some gameplay footage of it, because this might be something I like pick up just to have for, it's on Switch too. Like I could just take that wherever.
Yeah, we're gonna get there because it's gonna be really interesting. Let's burn through these next two. Okay. So the next two are real. It's not even talk about. Baby Storm, a generic party game for the Switch.
Yeah,
not much to say.
It looks like what's the one game with the little doll and he be rolling balls around and shit? It's on PlayStation. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it looked like a Switch version of that.
Katamari Damacy or something like that.
No, it has world in the title, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Little Big Planet. I think that's the name.
Okay.
That's kind of what it's looking like for me.
Yeah, it does. It kind of has that. And I don't know if you remember the movie that came out a couple years ago called Ugly Dolls. Nobody remembers because it didn't do well. But I just remember the game because the game was like heavily discounted. It has a very similar design to that, looking at the cover and everything. Like that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's I'm gonna skip that one.
Yeah, basically, this is something that's gonna be good for the kids. I assume it's not a full price Switch game, so I'm assuming I do my research. But again, a good party game for the kids. And then the next one is a game called MouseCraft, which was interesting because it's being released for the Xbox One, but literally was released for everything else like in 2014. so it was really random. Like, why bother? But this is a puzzle game. You're a mouse and you solve puzzles to get to cheese.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Remind me of that board game. Was it Mousetrap?
Yeah.
Something like that? Okay. Well, I don't have an Xbox, but I mean, more games the merrier.
Puzzle games are one of those things where,
time passes.
Yeah, time passes, but also good for all ages. And it looked like something that could be very much geared toward the younger. I mean, the Game Informer gave it an 8, so it must be pretty decent.
Yeah, but why are they releasing this on Xbox One in 2022?
It's so random and so weird. It was released July 8th, 2014 for PS4, PS3, PlayStation Vita, and the PC. And now on January 1st, 2022 is on Xbox One.
Okay, so that sounded like contracts and licensing and stuff was up, and it was like, why not? I'm pretty sure if they charge anything, maybe $10, $20, I don't see this game being expensive. And it might just be something that you can access on Game Pass, because you can get Xbox One. Xbox One has Game Pass compatibility, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is probably just something they throwing on there just to appease people. I don't know.
That's an 8-year gap, though. That is so strange for a random puzzle game.
It is. What's gonna shake it up, though, is if they add something new to it for the people who like it. I don't know. We're gonna skip that one. Yeah. There are too many puzzle games out there as it is for me to get into. Way too many.
All righty. I think we should get into some trailers now. I think the first one we have up is Windjammers 2.
Okay. And then what we doing after that? Because I want to see the Rainbow Six trailer if there's one.
Yes, we got Windjammers, Rainbow Six, and then Nobody Saves the World.
Okay, cool. Let's go at these trailers.
And the same sort of art style from Streets of Rage 4. I already love it.
And there's another game on, I believe it's on Switch. It's called like Dodgeball Heroes or something like that. It's kind of.
It's on Xbox too. It's on Game Pass actually. Yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of looking just like that.
Oh, I can see this in the arcades and people breaking joysticks.
Yes.
This looks really fun.
It does. I wonder how the online aspect of it works. Like, wait, do something that will be I got some Twitch thing looking like Facebook.
I mean, it's pretty and it's bright and it's colorful.
Yeah. This is what's that game that's always at the arcade with the air hockey? That's what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I can like this. I kind of want them to make it put it on mobile so I can play it on my phone.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I'm looking forward to playing that. I gotta see how much it costs. That might be a purchase. Who knows?
Yeah, like that looks like something that would be cool to just play and pass the time. Like I said, I think if Twitch streamers get a hold of it, it could really blow up.
Yeah, that would be good on Twitch. Yeah, because I can't see that game being any more than $25.
That's expensive for that.
It is. I'm thinking of comparison to Streets of Rage 4, and that was $25 when it launched, and that was well worth the money, even though I didn't pay for it on Game Pass, but still, it's well worth the money, and just for the quality, and just it's a really beautiful game. You can tell they put a lot of hard work into it. So that's a game where even though it's an arcade title, they put a lot of heart and soul into it, and they really expanded it. So I'm like, okay, I can see $25 for that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Like, there are other games now that I see, and I'm like, I it's pretty, but why would I pay $25 for this when there's some comparable that's better at the same price or cheaper?
Right. And not a reboot. It's a brand new game.
Exactly. And Windjammers, there's not, just looking at that, there aren't many things like that out on any system right now.
Right. Yeah, like we mentioned, the Dodgeball Heroes, whatever. That's probably the only game that's like in that vein to me as far as like competition goes, I guess. Yeah. But it looks interesting. Like as soon as I see it, I'm like, okay, air hockey, but on console. It could work.
Oh yeah. I definitely think so. I think hopefully it does well, or we shall see. You never know about these games because they aren't the games that are really talked about, that really make a whole lot of noise when it comes to the gaming press or just online is concerned. So hopefully it does pretty well. Hopefully people hearing us talk about it will go out and give it a try. Yeah,
at least, I'm pretty sure they'll have a demo for it. Get the demo, play it.
I hope so.
Yeah, because why would they not? This is a game where it's like, okay, it's not only a sequel, but it's like a lesser known title. They should demo it out. Let me get my hands on it, see how I feel about it, and then I hit the purchase button after if I'm enjoying air hockey on the on my console.
Exactly. I think the next trailer we have up is Rainbow Six Extraction.
Okay.
For decades, Team Rainbow has been the shield against the worst global threats imaginable.
Graphics.
Hostage situations, biological weapons, the threat of nuclear war. But now, we face the greatest terror our world has ever known.
I have fun on the page. I can see it already.
I love the way it looks.
Yeah, they definitely did the graphics. It's not people versus people, it's people versus aliens.
If we want a shot at tomorrow, we will move as one. We will think as one. We will do whatever it takes. As one. Together, we enter the unknown. Together, we fight for our future. And no one will be left behind.
I'm definitely digging that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I might be playing that this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have friends that I game with that we play the other Rainbow Six games that are out. So I'm definitely about to tell them like we need to get Extraction and shoot aliens like now.
Yeah, I like that alien designs. And again, we've seen so many different alien designs in regards to how old you are. Aliens are everywhere, different designs. I like the look. I like that it's kind of a realistic with that sort of cel-shaded sheen on top of it. So it's not ultra realistic, and you still have that sort of sci-fi motif. And you know, I still get shades of Back 4 Blood, but again, not with hordes of ridden or whatever they call them there, or zombies. It's still very much that team shooter sort of dynamic. And I could really see that being a lot of fun, especially you get online for the cats that just have fun with, just shooting a what and just talking and killing aliens. That's a good way to spend a Friday night, in my opinion.
It is. I mean, you mentioned the alien design. It kind of looks. I don't know if you ever played Prototype, the game Prototype.
I'm familiar. Yes, I know exactly where you're going. Yeah,
the aliens kind of look like the main character in the game with the sword hands or whatever those things are. But I'm interested. That one's piquing me right there. I think I'm a
exactly. And it's weird. Before I started researching it for the show, I'm like. Rainbow Six, another first-person shooter. Okay, and then I look at it, I'm like, oh, just seemed interesting. A co-op shooter. Okay. All right.
And that's the lane that the recent Rainbow Six games have been taking or whatever. Like, there's definitely, I don't know, the one that's out now is definitely like people versus people or whatever. But what I noticed the difference is the game modes. Like, there isn't at this point in time, if I'm not mistaken, there isn't like a gameplay feature in like Call of Duty or whatever where you can like build these barricades over the door and stuff and like control a point as a team. And that's the part about Rainbow Six that I like enjoy the most, is the fact that it forces you to be cooperative with your team. Like, I can run around on Call of Duty and just shoot people. I don't have to even turn on the party chat and speak to anybody. Rainbow Six, I need to tell people like, hey, I've been down. There's a person in this room. Because there's no like, somebody can pick you up, but then in Rainbow Six, like the shooting mechanics are like pretty genuine. If you get hit with a high-powered rifle or whatever, it's not, I kept shooting this person 5-7 times and he didn't die. It's like, no, 2 shots, you're on the ground. And I don't know, I'm interested. That's what I'm saying.
I definitely agree with you. And I think the last one we have is Nobody Saves the World. And this should be interesting.
Okay.
I love the cartoony style.
It's kind of like a super universe game.
Yeah, it does.
They got like a little notice to it. The whole port. What is that?
I don't even know what to say to that.
Definitely seeing Scott Pilgrim here.
Yeah, it looks fun, and I think that's the biggest thing. The art style, even the gameplay, especially for those who wouldn't necessarily touch an RPG. I think it would be a perfect game for them to touch. It's an action RPG. It looks fun, and I didn't realize it was the same studio that did the Guacamelee series. And if you're familiar with that, that's like a action platformer with a luchador. So right there, you're crazy. So yeah, that definitely looks like something I would definitely dip my toe into. But my problem is I have too many RPGs I need to finish, so I don't want to pick up another one.
I'm in the same boat. I have games that I bought over a year ago. I have not even started.
Yeah. And
games that I'm like 2 missions away from completing, and I just completely. But yeah, that one looks fun. And what I noticed about, like you said, you mentioned the drawing style or whatever, that'll be really cool for kids, like the young crowd of gamers who are like zombie lovers and, you know, spooky lovers and stuff like that, but not necessarily old enough for the super gore and blood splatter. That'll be fun to play, and it's a co-op mode to it. That's cool.
Right? Yeah, that was cool. I think this kind of touched on something you said a bit earlier, especially in our Activision discussion. But one of the things I've loved, and not necessarily the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, because that really is a continuation of what I want to say. But it's something about the generation of gaming with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 that just really open up developers to do so many different types of things in games, whether it's play styles, whether it is graphics. And you're seeing just look at the 3 games that we looked at. None of them look alike, even though they're 3 very different games, but you still have varying art styles, varying gameplays. Even all the other games we talked about, all of them are different. So many games look drastically different than the game that you could play next to them. And I really love that. And these artists are constantly pushing the boundaries of what the video game medium can really express with their art, to really give us, the gamers or consumers, really compelling reasons to pick up their title and to not just play them, but to continue playing them. And I think this current generation of gaming that we're out of, I feel like that is probably the biggest bounce that we're getting going into now, this quote unquote next gen, current gen with the PS5 and the Xbox Series systems, because there was such a monumental foundation built. And again, a lot of that started with the 360, especially with Xbox Live and some of the PlayStation 3 initiatives, but that the whole indie game scene really took off in this last generation on consoles, and it's exploded to a point where you get so many of these wonderful titles that now, quality wise, if not money wise, they are rivaling these games that these major studios are spending like 8-9 figures on to produce. And that's just really amazing to me. You didn't have this 10 years ago. So a game like this could really come out of nowhere, get hyped. Like I said, Game Informer gave it 8.25. I heard it talked about on various channels before we even talked about doing this show. And it's just like, it's a little game that could, and that probably will. And then Microsoft cutting that check. They're going directly in the Game Pass. People are going to play it and then buy it. Because I don't know. This is the one thing about Game Pass that I hate the commentary online. They're like, people don't buy games. They just play Game Pass. I'm like, do you understand how many games I played because of Game Pass that I never would have played before? Do you know how many games I bought because I played it on Game Pass?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I like Game Pass, even though I don't have a subscription or Xbox or anything that I can access it on. It's just simply because they're giving gamers the opportunity to like try that full game and then decide, okay, I'm ready to spend the money on it or whatever. I don't know exactly how the Game Pass works. Like, does it rotate out games and like bring new
some games do, yeah, but they're in for a long, like Streets of Rage 4, going back to that, has been in Game Pass since it dropped. Okay. So it's been like a year and a half ago. There's some games that come and go, like a lot of Final Fantasy series, they were there for like 6-7 months and some of them rotated out. Other games have been in, like MLB The Show, the newest one, has been in since day one. Since the beginning of the baseball season, and it's still there, and it's like $8 on discount. But just it all depends. But at the most, I would say a game is in Game Pass at least 4 months. At the least. I think most of them, when they come in, they're there a lot longer. I would say 6 months, just kind of ballpark, is maybe average. That's probably not even right either. I think they're a lot longer than that. But 6 months is still a long time to have access to a game to be able to play it. Yeah. Okay. And that's dope. I don't know. I'm interested in that particular game, and just, I see we running on time here, but just to add to what you were saying earlier about the indie games or whatever, I feel like people are starting to get like first person shootered out. Like, I'm tired of like fucking Call of Duty is such an enormous game that I don't even like to play it anymore, because I'm like, it's taking up 25% of my fucking external hard drive. I really could just be playing a bunch of other games. And I think the indie developers have started to realize that they don't have to, try to play up their games to those standards. They can just make what they want and it'll work. Because there's other kind of gamers out here that, like yourself, you don't really care for first person shooters or whatever. So all these indie developers coming in with fresh ideas and bringing a style of gameplay that honestly have been lost before them, like 2D side scrollers and arcade style games, whatever. Like that's good to me, and I like that they're continuing to be like, whatever, people are gonna play it or they're not. Exactly. Now, like I said, we are running short on time, so Brian, first tell us what's going on with you. Like, what do you have coming up next, and where can people find you? Well, you can find me at Brian Sapph, BrianSapph on Twitter, Instagram. That's pretty much it. I stream on Twitch, Demigod_Sapph, if you want to check my gameplay out. But as far as what I have coming up, just more of my Talk and Play blerdcast, which is available on all most podcast streaming platforms. So what do you call those? Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can search Talk and Play blerdcast and it'll pop up. I just recorded my review for Spider-Man No Way Home last night. I know it's been in theaters for some time, but I like to be respectful to people who just can't get out that much. Right. I totally understand that. My spoiler full review for Spider-Man No Way Home will probably be next on the release schedule for the Talk and Play blerdcast, and that's pretty much it, outside of doing things with you guys. Okay, sounds great. Well, I am WebsterStyle, the man, the voice of fragrance. You can find me at WebsterStyle on both Twitter and Instagram. Also, Sartorial Geek on Instagram. Also, you can find me at various places. I write columns for NRW, so my latest game review of The Gunk is there as well. But also, you can find me at WebsterStyle.com, where you'll find style and a whole bunch of other stuff, including gaming. Some other reviews are there. But more importantly, you can find me as the host of the Sartorial and Geek podcast by WebsterStyle. Every Friday, it comes out on all of your major platforms. This Friday is going to be a packed show with everything that's been going on, especially with Moon Knight. Long Box is a real doozy, as well as I watched Naomi as well, so I got my take on that also.
Oh, Naomi did come out. I need to watch that as well. And Peacemaker. Oh man, I got so much content. Yes.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for this inaugural NRW gaming show. We haven't come up with a name yet, but I'm sure we'll have one by the next time. Remember, find us always at New Release Wednesday. Find us on all your handles at the NRW, at New Release Wednesday. You search New Release Wednesday, Nerds Rule the World. We taking over the internet, so you will find us everywhere.